Part 2. He confessed to murder. But what the trial revealed was even worse. When James Carden confessed to the brutal killing of Claire Whitmore, the small town he once served as a respected doctor was left shattered. The community hoped that with the confession came closure. But in truth, the nightmare was just beginning. The trial of James Carden was set to begin just 6 months after his arrest. The prosecution was confident. The confession, the discovery of Claire's body, and the digital evidence from the second phone seemed airtight. But as lawyers, reporters, and grieving family members filed into the courtroom, no one was prepared for what would surface next. A trial that turned into a scandal. From the very first day of testimony, it became clear James Carden had secrets far darker than anyone imagined. The prosecution introduced records from years earlier, a restraining order filed by a former girlfriend, long before he met Claire. In it, she described controlling behavior, emotional abuse, and one terrifying night when James allegedly forced her off the road during an argument. But here's where things got suspicious. That restraining order had disappeared from the county database. It had been marked closed due to lack of evidence, but no court official could explain how or why the file was sealed. This wasn't just about James anymore. This was about how his past was protected and who might have helped him cover it up. The phone that spoke beyond the grave. In a twist no one saw coming, digital forensics recovered deleted voice recordings from Claire's second phone. In one, her voice trembles as she whispers, "If anything happens to me, tell them it was James. He said no one would believe me, that no one would care." The courtroom fell silent. Claire had known she was in danger. She had tried to leave, but she was trapped in fear and silence. Then came something even more disturbing. The prosecution presented a text message, one deleted from James's phone but backed up to his cloud. It was sent 2 days after Claire's disappearance, to someone saved in his contacts as M. Admin. "It's done. She's not a problem anymore. You know what to do with the file." The identity of M. Admin remains a mystery, but speculation quickly spread through the courtroom and the public. Did someone help James bury the evidence? Was someone inside the hospital helping him erase his past? The hospital under scrutiny. Suddenly, this wasn't just a murder trial. It became a scandal engulfing the entire medical facility. Claire's family attorney issued a public statement accusing the hospital of failing to act on multiple warnings. Internal emails, leaked to the press, showed that Claire had made a formal complaint about James's behavior just 2 months before her death. The complaint was never followed up. By the 3rd week of the trial, public trust in the hospital crumbled. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse, demanding accountability. Nurses who once worked with James came forward, saying they too felt unsafe, but were too afraid to speak out. The courtroom became not just a place of justice, but a battleground of truth versus silence. The verdict and unanswered questions. James Carden was ultimately found guilty of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But justice didn't feel complete. Who was M. Admin? Why were records of his past wiped clean? Why did the hospital ignore Claire's cries for help? And most hauntingly, could Claire have been saved if someone had just listened sooner? Claire's legacy. Claire's family launched a foundation in her name to support victims of workplace harassment and domestic violence. They've called for legislation to improve whistleblower protections in the healthcare system, because Claire's story, as tragic as it is, may not be unique. In the end, her death uncovered more than a murder. It exposed a system where silence was protected, and speaking out came at a cost. And though James Carden may never walk free again, the echoes of Claire's voice, from a hidden phone in the dark, continue to speak the truth that no one could bury.